From four-time All-Star Vin Baker, who lost a $100 million fortune and ended up working at Starbucks, to Hall of Famer Adrian Dantley, who went from millionaire status to making just $15,000 a year as a school crossing guard.
Why you want to be a crossing guard? It's not beneath me. I'm a regular guy. I just played basketball.
In this video, we're looking at 10 NBA players who went from fortune and fame to working normal jobs. Vin Baker. Baker was a four-time NBA All-Star who played for teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and Seattle Supersonics, earning approximately $100 million throughout his career. Standing 6'11" and weighing 225 pounds, Baker was part of a new generation of power forwards who could handle the ball, shoot from distance, and create plays, skills that were revolutionary for big men in the 1990s. Baker's rise to stardom was meteoric. After being overlooked by major Division I schools, he made his mark at the University of Hartford, becoming the school's all-time leading scorer. Selected 8th overall by the Milwaukee Bucks in the 1993 NBA draft, Baker quickly silenced his doubters with his versatility and basketball IQ. However, Baker's career took a devastating turn when he was traded to the Seattle Supersonics. The pressure of replacing fan favorite Shawn Kemp, combined with personal struggles, began to derail what had been a promising trajectory. Baker lost much of his wealth due to alcoholism, poor investments, and reckless spending habits. His on-court performance began to decline dramatically, and by the early 2000s, it became clear that addiction was controlling his life.
Did you drink during games?
Yeah, there were times when I had to. I think the pressure of maintaining this level of basketball made me anxious. And I would have withdrawals, the shakes, the noise of the crowd that I would drink during games to maintain an even keel.
The admission that he sometimes played while intoxicated reveals the depth of Baker's struggles with alcoholism. His career effectively ended after brief stints with several teams, and by age 35, he was completely broke, having lost his fortune through wrong investments, lending money to the wrong people, and funding his addictions. Baker's path to recovery began with a spiritual awakening and multiple attempts at sobriety. Through his connection with former Seattle Supersonics owner Howard Schultz, who was also the CEO of Starbucks, Baker found an unexpected opportunity for redemption. He worked as a barista at a Starbucks in Rhode Island, later becoming a manager at a Starbucks franchise. The sight of the 11" former All-Star making coffee behind the counter became a powerful symbol of humility and second chances.
Little do people know, man, I was like living a sober life. I didn't care what the job was. I was happy that I was sober.
Baker's time at Starbucks wasn't just about earning a paycheck. It was about rebuilding his character and learning to live life on life's terms. He has since written a book titled God in Starbucks and now works as a basketball director at Camp Greylock while also serving as a Fox Sports analyst. But perhaps most importantly, he has maintained his sobriety for over 13 years, proving that recovery is possible even from the deepest depths of addiction. Speaking of unexpected career transitions, our next story takes us from the coffee shop to the school crosswalk, where another NBA legend found purpose in protecting the most vulnerable members of society. Derek Coleman. Derek Demetrius Coleman's journey from NBA stardom to community activism represents one of the most compelling stories of personal transformation and social responsibility among former professional athletes. Coleman was the 1991 NBA Rookie of the Year and an All-Star in 1994, playing 15 seasons in the league while earning over $91 million during his career. His fall from financial grace and subsequent rise as a community advocate illustrates both the dangers of athletic stardom and the potential for meaningful second acts. Coleman's basketball credentials are impressive by any standard. Standing 6'10" with exceptional versatility for a power forward of his era, he was selected first overall by the New Jersey Nets in the 1990 NBA draft. His rookie season was historic, as he became the first player ever to be unanimously selected as Rookie of the Year, averaging 18.4 points and 10.3 rebounds per game while leading the Nets to their first playoff appearance in 6 years. However, Coleman's financial success didn't translate into long-term security. He filed for bankruptcy in 2010, losing his fortune due to excessive drinking, partying, and poor financial decisions. The lifestyle that often accompanies athletic fame, expensive cars, multiple homes, extravagant parties, and poor investment choices, consumed the wealth he had accumulated over his playing career. Today, Coleman works as a clean water and equality activist in Flint, Michigan, personally driving around to deliver water to residents affected by the city's ongoing water crisis. This hands-on approach to activism represents a dramatic departure from his former lifestyle of of luxury and excess. Coleman's work in Flint involves more than just water distribution. He has formed partnerships with other former NBA players and community organizations to maintain consistent support for affected residents. The ongoing nature of the crisis means that Coleman's work isn't a one-time charitable gesture, but a sustained commitment to a community in need. Coleman also earned a degree post-retirement, reflecting his commitment to personal growth and education alongside his community service work. This educational achievement represents another aspect of his personal transformation, showing that learning and growth continued well beyond his basketball career. Coleman's activism, while noble, represents hands-on, community-based work that contrasts sharply with his former lavish lifestyle, likely driven by both necessity and a genuine desire to give back. His transformation from bankrupt former star to community advocate illustrates the potential for personal redemption through service to others. From the water crisis in Flint, we move to the world of college basketball, where another former NBA player discovered that teaching the game could provide both stability and satisfaction in ways that playing professionally never could. Kenny Anderson. Kenneth "Kenny" Anderson's story represents one of the most dramatic financial collapses in NBA history, followed by a career transition that kept him connected to the game he loves while operating on a drastically different economic scale. Anderson was the second overall pick in the 1991 NBA draft and played 14 years in the league, earning approximately $63 million during his career. Today, he works as a college basketball coach, earning a modest salary that pales in comparison to his former NBA earnings. Anderson's basketball journey began in Queens, New York, where he was considered one of the most promising high school players in the country. His exceptional ball handling skills, court vision, and scoring ability made him a highly sought-after recruit. After a stellar high school career, he played one season at Georgia Tech before declaring for the NBA draft, where the New Jersey Nets selected him with the second overall pick. During his NBA career, Anderson was known as one of the most skilled point guards of his generation. His peak years came during the mid-1990s, when he was averaging over 17 points and 9 assists per game. However, his impressive on-court success masked growing personal and financial problems that would eventually derail his post-basketball security. Anderson filed for bankruptcy shortly after his retirement in 2006, largely due to child support obligations for 7 children with 5 different women, multiple DUI incidents, and poor financial management. The financial burden of supporting multiple households, combined with legal fees and poor investment decisions, consumed his substantial NBA earnings. The child support obligations alone represented a significant monthly expense that continued long after his playing career ended. Legal troubles, including DUI arrests, added additional financial strain through fines, legal fees, and potential lost income opportunities. Unlike some former players who completely distanced themselves from basketball after financial troubles, Anderson chose to remain connected to the game through coaching. He currently serves as the head basketball coach at Fisk University, a role that, while tied to basketball, represents a regular job with modest pay compared to NBA salaries. Coaching at a small university represents a step down from NBA wealth, reflecting Anderson's need to rebuild financially while staying connected to the sport he loves. The role allows him to share his extensive basketball knowledge and experience with young players while earning a steady, if modest, income. From the college basketball courts where Kenny Anderson is rebuilding his life through coaching, we move to an even more dramatic story of redemption, one involving a player whose career was cut short by controversy, but who found purpose in educating the next generation. Greg Oden. Gregory Wayne Oden Jr.'s story represents one of the most heartbreaking what-if scenarios in NBA history, followed by a humble journey toward finding new purpose through education and mentorship. Oden was the first overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft, but played sparingly due to chronic knee injuries, earning approximately $24 million during his abbreviated career. His transition from potential superstar to student manager illustrates both the fragility of athletic careers and the importance of education as a foundation for life after sports. Oden's basketball journey began with unprecedented expectations. Standing 7 feet tall with exceptional athletic ability and basketball instincts, he was considered one of the most promising big men to enter the NBA in decades. His college career at Ohio State University was brief but dominant, leading the Buckeyes to the NCAA championship game as a freshman alongside Mike Conley Jr. The Portland Trail Blazers selected him first overall in 2007, passing on Kevin Durant, who was selected second by the Seattle Supersonics. However, chronic knee injuries would plague his entire professional career, limiting him to just 105 games over 6 NBA seasons. The physical reality of Oden's injury problems went far beyond basketball performance. The chronic pain and limitation in basic daily activities like walking downstairs illustrates the severe impact that knee problems had on his quality of life. The contrast between his potential and his physical reality created enormous psychological challenges. When deciding to retire from basketball, Oden faced the difficult process of reimagining his identity and future. Rather than retreating from the sport entirely, he chose to stay connected to basketball through education and service. Oden served as a student manager for Ohio State's basketball team while pursuing his degree in sports industry, later transitioning to work as an athlete advisor for EduCore Sports and Entertainment. These roles represent practical approaches to rebuilding his career around basketball knowledge and experience. Oden's transition from potential NBA superstar to mentor and educator illustrates how career-ending injuries can lead to different but meaningful forms of contribution to basketball and society. His story demonstrates that value and purpose can be found even when original dreams are derailed by circumstances beyond one's control. Adrian Dantley. Adrian Delano Dantley's story represents one of the most surprising and heartwarming career transitions in NBA history. A Hall of Fame player and 6-time All-Star who scored 23,177 points over 15 seasons, Dantley earned an estimated $15 million during his playing career. Yet today, you'll find this basketball legend standing in a crosswalk in Montgomery County, Maryland, ensuring the safe passage of elementary school children. Dantley's basketball pedigree is impeccable. The 6'5" forward was known for his incredible scoring ability and his knack for drawing fouls, making him one of the most efficient offensive players of his era. His accolades include being named to 6 All-Star teams and earning a spot in the Basketball Hall of Fame achievements that would typically guarantee a comfortable retirement filled with coaching opportunities, broadcasting deals, or executive positions within the basketball world. However, while not explicitly facing bankruptcy like some of his contemporaries, Dantley encountered financial challenges post-retirement, possibly due to modest earnings compared to modern NBA contracts and a lack of major endorsement deals. What makes Dantley's story truly remarkable is his choice of post-NBA employment. He works as a crossing guard at Eastern Middle School in Montgomery County, Maryland, earning less than $15,000 annually. For a Hall of Famer who once commanded significant salaries, this represents an extraordinary display of humility and community service.
Why you want to be a crossing guard? It's not beneath me. I'm a regular guy. I just played basketball.
This simple yet profound statement encapsulates Dantley's approach to his new career. Despite his Hall of Fame status and the millions he earned during his playing days, he doesn't view any honest work as beneath his dignity.
I definitely saved 2 kids' lives.
The job has meaning.
Oh, it definitely has meaning, and I feel like I'm doing something, helping the community, and it's all about the kids.
Few of the children he protects each day realize they're being watched over by a basketball legend. Dantley's choice is notable for its humility, as his Hall of Fame status could have led to more lucrative opportunities, but he opted for a community-oriented role. His decision represents a conscious choice to prioritize community service and personal fulfillment over financial gain, setting an inspiring example of how former athletes can find meaningful ways to give back to society. From the school crosswalk, we head to the rural landscapes of Oklahoma, where another former NBA player found solace and purpose in a completely different kind of work that connects him to the land. Bryant Reeves. Known by his nickname Big Country, Reeves played 6 seasons with the Vancouver Grizzlies, averaging up to 16 points and 8 rebounds per game while earning around $15 million during his NBA career. Standing 7 feet tall and weighing over 290 pounds, Reeves was a formidable presence in the paint during the mid to late 1990s. Reeves' basketball journey began in the heartland of America, specifically in Gans, Oklahoma, a small rural community that perfectly matched his eventual nickname. His path to the NBA was unconventional, as he attended Oklahoma State University, where he developed into a dominant college player. The Vancouver Grizzlies, in their inaugural season, selected him 6th overall in the 1995 NBA draft, making him the first significant draft pick in franchise history. During his time with the Grizzlies, Reeves became a fan favorite and the face of the struggling expansion franchise. His peak season saw him posting solid numbers for a team that was learning how to compete at the NBA level. However, his promising career was derailed by a series of back injuries that eventually forced him into early retirement at just 27 years old. While not explicitly facing bankruptcy, Reeves' injuries forced early retirement, and his modest earnings compared to modern contracts, along with a lack of major endorsements, likely created financial pressures. Unlike many of his contemporaries who moved to major metropolitan areas after retirement, Reeves made a deliberate choice to return to his roots. Today, Reeves owns and operates a 300-acre cattle ranch in Oklahoma, complete with a basketball court. This career choice reflects more than just a practical decision. It represents a philosophical returned to the values and lifestyle that shaped him long before NBA fame came calling. This job reflects a lifestyle choice aligned with his rural roots rather than dire financial need. The presence of a basketball court on his property serves as a reminder of his past life, while simultaneously demonstrating how he's integrated both aspects of his identity into his current existence. Reeves's ranching career shows a deliberate pivot to a self-sustaining job, leveraging his NBA earnings to invest in a stable, non-glamorous profession. His success in this venture demonstrates that the same dedication and work ethic that brought him NBA success can be applied to entirely different pursuits. Mark Blount. Mark Kelvin Blount's post-NBA journey into the world of franchise ownership represents one of the more entrepreneurial success stories among former players who transitioned to normal jobs. Blount played 9 years in the NBA as a role player, reaching his statistical peak with the Boston Celtics, where he averaged 12.6 points per game while earning an estimated $30 million throughout his career. Standing 7 feet tall, Blount was a serviceable center during his NBA tenure, playing for teams including the Boston Celtics, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Miami Heat. While never achieving all-star status, he carved out a respectable career as a reliable role player who could provide scoring and rebounding from the center position. His best seasons came with the Celtics, where he became a fan favorite and contributed to the team's competitive efforts in the early 2000s. Blount's career ended due to lack of team interest rather than any dramatic circumstances, and while not facing bankruptcy, his modest earnings by NBA standards required him to seek post-basketball income opportunities. Unlike some players who faced financial ruin through poor decisions, Blount's situation was more about practical necessity and the reality that even NBA salaries don't necessarily guarantee lifelong financial security. What sets Blount apart from many of his contemporaries is the shrewd business acumen he demonstrated in his post-basketball ventures. He owned 2 Auntie Anne's pretzel franchises in Florida, which he eventually sold for a $2 million profit after making a $700,000 initial investment. This represents not just survival, but genuine business success that nearly tripled his initial investment. After successfully selling his pretzel franchises, Blount transitioned to focusing on real estate opportunities. This move represents a natural progression for someone who had proven their business capabilities and accumulated capital through their initial franchise success. Real estate investing can provide ongoing passive income while allowing for larger-scale wealth-building opportunities. Blount's franchise ownership and real estate ventures are entrepreneurial but grounded in accessible business models, reflecting a practical approach to post-NBA life. His choices demonstrate that former athletes can successfully transition into business ownership by choosing proven models and applying the work ethic that brought them professional sports success. From franchise ownership and real estate investment, we move to another form of entrepreneurship, one that leverages personal connections and networking skills that were essential during a playing career. Dan Dickau. Daniel David Dickau's transition from NBA point guard to real estate agent represents a common but often overlooked career path for former professional athletes. Dickau was a first-round pick in the 2002 NBA draft and played 6 years in the league, reaching his statistical peak with the New Orleans Hornets, where he averaged 13.2 points per game, earning approximately $10 million during his NBA tenure. Dickau's basketball journey began at Gonzaga University, where he became one of the most successful players in the program's history. His college success, including leading Gonzaga to multiple NCAA tournament appearances, made him an attractive prospect for NBA teams. During his NBA career, Dickau was known as a reliable backup point guard with excellent basketball IQ and shooting ability. However, like many players of his era and draft position, Dickau's relatively short career and limited earnings likely necessitated additional income sources following his retirement from professional basketball. The financial reality for many NBA players, particularly those outside the superstar tier, is that their earning window is brief and must be maximized to provide for decades of post-playing life. Following his basketball career, Dickau transitioned into working as a real estate agent, leveraging his connections from his time at Gonzaga University. This career choice demonstrates practical thinking about how to apply the relationship-building skills developed during his athletic career to a new professional context. The networking aspect of real estate sales particularly suits someone with Dickau's background. His connections from Gonzaga University, combined with relationships built during his NBA career, provide a natural client base and referral network. Former teammates, coaches, and fans often become clients or sources of referrals, giving former athletes an advantage in building their real estate businesses. Dickau's real estate work represents networking skills honed during his playing days being applied to a traditional normal job. His success in this field demonstrates how the relationship-building abilities essential for team sports can be successfully transferred to business contexts that depend on trust and communication. From the world of real estate transactions, we turn to a story of personal redemption and community service, where a former NBA All-Star found purpose in addressing one of America's most pressing social crises: Michael Sugar Ray Richardson. Michael Sugar Ray Richardson's story represents one of the most dramatic falls from NBA grace, followed by a journey of redemption through education and youth mentorship. Richardson played 8 years in the NBA before receiving a lifetime ban in 1986 for drug violations, earning approximately $10 million during his abbreviated career. Richardson's NBA career began with tremendous promise. The 6'5" guard from the University of Montana was selected 4th overall by the New York Knicks in the 1978 NBA draft. The nickname Sugar Ray reflected both his smooth playing style and his charismatic personality. However, Richardson's promising career was derailed by substance abuse issues that ultimately led to his downfall. During the 1980s, the NBA was grappling with widespread drug problems among players, and Richardson became one of the most high-profile casualties of this epidemic. His struggles with cocaine addiction affected his performance, reliability, and ultimately his career longevity. Richardson received a lifetime ban from the NBA in 1986 for repeated drug violations, making him one of the few players to receive such severe punishment. The lifetime ban meant that he could never again play in the NBA, effectively ending his professional basketball career in America at age 31, when many players are still in their prime. Following his NBA ban, Richardson continued his basketball career in Europe for 14 years, playing in various leagues including Italy, France, and other countries where his past troubles didn't prevent employment. Following his playing career, Richardson returned to the United States and now works as a substitute teacher in Oklahoma, while also running a youth camp for underprivileged children. This career choice represents a dramatic transformation from his troubled past to a life focused on education and youth development. Substitute teaching represents low-paying, community-focused work that highlights Richardson's shift to a modest lifestyle after a turbulent career. The contrast between his former life as an NBA star and his current role as an educator illustrates the dramatic nature of his personal transformation. Richardson's youth camp work represents another aspect of his commitment to giving back to the community. Working with underprivileged children allows him to share both basketball skills and life lessons learned through his struggles with addiction and professional setbacks. From the classrooms of Oklahoma, where Sugar Ray Richardson found redemption through education, we turn to a story of unfulfilled potential and the challenge of rebuilding an identity when injury derails even the most promising careers. Scottie Pippen, from champion to cattle farmer. Scottie Maurice Pippen's story represents perhaps the most surprising entry on our list, given his status as one of basketball's greatest players and his role in one of the most successful dynasties in NBA history. Pippen is a Hall of Fame player and 6-time NBA champion with the Chicago Bulls, who earned over $109 million during his playing career. Yet even this basketball legend found himself transitioning to agricultural work, demonstrating that financial challenges can affect players at any level of success. Pippen's basketball legacy is unassailable. As Michael Jordan's primary teammate during the Bulls' championship runs in the 1990s, he was instrumental in creating one of the most dominant dynasties in professional sports history. His versatility, defensive prowess, and unselfish play made him the perfect complement to Jordan's scoring brilliance. Pippen's ability to guard multiple positions, facilitate offense, and perform in clutch moments established him as one of the greatest all-around players in NBA history. Beyond his 6 championships with Chicago, Pippen was selected to 7 All-Star teams, named to 8 All-NBA teams, and was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2010. His international success includes being a member of the original Dream Team that won gold at the 1992 Olympics, cementing his status among basketball's elite players. However, while not completely broke, Pippen faced significant financial setbacks from bad investments and a costly divorce. The financial impact of divorce proceedings can be particularly devastating for high-earning athletes, as asset division and ongoing support obligations can consume substantial portions of accumulated wealth. Reports of Pippen suing media outlets for falsely claiming he was bankrupt suggest he retained significant wealth, but his transition to agricultural work indicates a shift toward more practical income generation. The fact that someone of his stature would engage in farming work, regardless of his remaining wealth, speaks to either financial necessity or a deliberate lifestyle choice. Today, Pippen co-owns a livestock farm in Arkansas with his brother, supplementing his income with occasional television appearances. The decision to enter agricultural business represents a dramatic departure from the glamorous lifestyle typically associated with NBA superstars. Pippen's farming venture represents a surprising pivot for a basketball superstar, likely driven by a combination of financial recovery needs and personal interest in a quieter lifestyle. Pippen's story demonstrates that even the most successful players can face financial challenges that require practical solutions. His willingness to engage in agricultural work, regardless of his remaining wealth or status as a basketball legend, shows pragmatic thinking about income generation and perhaps a desire for a more grounded lifestyle.